Hi there, in this video I'm going to give an overview of the tabs in computer repair shop software under the ticket check-in. As you can see from the video, the first tab we've got selected is the customer tab. This is where you would enter all your customer details, all your customer information. You've got the option their address, their email address, and obviously their mobile number. From this page you can also send them an SMS and an email, which uses the mail to and the SMS link, so it won't actually log these details into CRS, but you can send quick messages if you wanted to. And obviously you've got the notes area at the bottom of the page where you can put any notes you may have. For example, you may have customers who don't pay on time and stuff like that, so just something you'll see when you check something in. Okay, the areas on the side should be hopefully quite self-explanatory. Previous tickets obviously gives you an indication what tickets they've had in, what tickets they've opened before. And also the assets at the bottom is the number of assets that's been registered to that customer. So for example, in this one we've got we're still number 1 because it's obviously the first one in our database, an Apple iMac 27. You can double click that when you're creating a new ticket, and that will automatically put all the asset details into this page here. So saves you having to retype it all in again. If you use the labels, which is a feature of CRS, using the Dynamo labeler, you can attach the label to the bottom of the customer's computer, so if it comes back in the future you can just see the asset ID and you can quickly associate the asset ID on the bottom of the computer with the asset ID listed here. Some customers may have several computers they may bring into you. When you're typing in the customer's name, just hit the tab. If you've got the customer and they've been here before, then all you need is type in the first few letters of their name and hit the tab, and that will open up a little dialog box asking you to select the right customer. So if you have a Mr. Smith, you could type in the word Smith, and all the Smiths in your database will be presented to you, and you can just choose one based on their address or their company name. The same goes with the company, so you could type in, for example here I could type in the word laptop, and it will open up a big list of all the companies with the word laptop in, so you can choose Mr. Smith from the laptop fixers, or in my case myself, Paul Betteridge. Okay, so moving on to the next tab, the job tab. In this tab, this is where you would list all the information about the computer that's been checked in for repair. It's largely all optional other than the notes at the bottom. Obviously every repair needs to have a job note so you know what it's in for. This is the only non-optional field, as well as in the customer tab you've got the name, as well as the only two fields you need, and the minimum is the name and the notes. But obviously the more information you can get from the customer the better, especially useful getting their email address so you can use their email for marketing and stuff in the future. So anyway, starting from the top, we've got computer make and model, and you've got a selection of all the defaults. So you can add extras to this easily by clicking on the add button. And here, if you type in the model of the Apple, for example iMac 27, then it's in an autocomplete box. So next time another iMac 27 comes in, that will automatically allow you to select it from the list. So it will remember all the different makes and models. Especially useful for all the variations of like HP, the DV6000s, and etc. So you can always get back to the right laptop. It's all about trying to minimise the amount of typing and entering into CRS, which is what it's designed to do. Obviously asset ID is allocated automatically by CRS, and on a new ticket you'll have an area here where you can enter the next available one, but obviously because I've got the ticket open it's only letting me have this one. You can change the asset ID as well if you wanted to, but most of the times I recommend just sticking with the defaults generated by CRS. Asset type, you can specify what type of asset you're checking in, a laptop or a desktop or other. If you go into the options you can actually add more assets, for example mobile phone or cell phone. You can add a tablet to the options, printer, monitor, anything you repair you can add in just so you can differentiate it. Items is also quite an important one. At the moment I've got in our items list here mouse and keyboard selected, which is selected from here when I check this ticket in. The more options you add, for example a power cord, all gets put into this list. When you click the save button it will print a label for each asset you've got, so that every asset will have their own, will be linked to this main computer with the same asset ID. Obviously if you've got an optional one then you can put other and type it in at the top. This is something optional. Excuse my spelling. Fat fingers, I think I put it down to. And then that will also be printed out as well with the sheet. Next you've got obviously the serial number of the item. We generally use this ourselves for logging serial numbers of mobile phones, and obviously like iPads and iPhones, just so we've got serial so we can differentiate between two different ones. But you can use the serial numbers of any item you check in. Just make sure you know 100% you've got that item allocated to that ticket. Then you might have two identical Dells or two identical iPads next to each other on your bench. Don't want to mix them around because you'll be giving back the wrong one to the wrong customer. Okay, so underneath we've got the login area, which is for the username and passwords for. So if it's an iPad or an iPhone, then it will be just a standard their their PIN number to log in. If it's obviously a laptop, you specify the default. Normally we ask the customer for their administrator, admin username and the password. And if you are confident and you want to do this, you can blank a password if the customer allows you to do that, rather than giving your password, because it's not all customers want you to know their passwords. And then we've got a few options now for the ticket as well. So data backup required, that's obviously self-explanatory. The CRS will remind you when you hit save that if you haven't ticked data backup required, it will say does customer want data backup, and it will also say on their ticket. So if they go away and read the receipt, hopefully they do read the receipt, and it says data backup, and it gives you some stuff, we could accidentally wipe it. Are you sure you want to go ahead with this, blah blah blah. So, and you can change all the wording for the tickets so you give back to the customers as well for the receipts they get, all through the options and through the HTML templates. Ticking priority obviously means priority, so let's tick that and it sets this to high. You may have a charge for this as well, so you would also put the invoice charge in for your priority repair. Ticking the quote first obviously changes that so you know it's a quote rather than an invoiced job or one they're happy to go ahead with. Just more of a reminder, and obviously it changes these buttons at the bottom here as well, so you can print a quote and send a quote. So it's quite a good way of managing quotes, and you can view by quotes in the system as well. Warranty repair, obviously unfortunately sometimes things do come back, so you tick that and it will come out as warranty repair, and it will say on the ticket what it gets printed out, so you know it's a warranty. Untick them. If for example the ticket or the job requires you to visit the customer, then you can say call out required. You can change the status now to home call. Setting that status to home call will also ensure the calendar sees this ticket as well. The calendar looks for any statuses with the status of home call, which is changed up here, and that will then display in the calendar so you know exactly what it is, what ticket's being linked to the home call. If you use Google Calendar as well, then it will automatically push this to your Google Calendar as well, so you've got technicians out and about, they'll see the next appointment without having to phone in. It also displays the address and displays the ID, ticket ID, customer name and number as well, so anyone using Google Calendar out and about, your technicians on the road, will see all the details. So I'm just going to specify a call out will say 5 PM. Automatically default adds another hour, and you may want to change that around. And then obviously this area down the bottom is your ticket notes. So hard drive failed, data needed, reinstall needed. You've got some common problems here. Again, these can be added to in the database, so you can add your own ones or change the ones that's here. And finally at the bottom we've got the estimated job cost and customer agreed budget. So hopefully when you speak to your customer, they may say I don't want to pay more than 150, do what you can, and you've estimated it might be about £100, but you've got a budget of an extra £50 in case you need to. So that's the job tab. These are the two tabs you'll be using the most for checking in new tickets for new computer repair jobs. And then obviously you may occasionally be using a condition, so if a computer comes in missing a few keys or it's scratched, then these are where you tick in, product cut key may be faded off the bottom. So I would always double check these things as a computer comes into you. And any notes, for example, you may say half of the casing is damaged from it being dropped, or something like that. Again, this is quite useful keeping hold of these types of notes, because this gets printed on the customer receipt you give back to them, and the last thing you want to do for your customer to come back and say, oh, there's a scratch on this case that wasn't there when I dropped it in. So try and be as detailed as possible, but then how you run your business is entirely up to you, obviously. Then on the next tab we've got the parts area. This is quite a good area, quite an important area. any parts needed for any tickets, rather than you working on an Excel spreadsheet or through you might use other software. This is all fully integrated into CRS, so a ticket will create a list of parts that need to be purchased by your purchaser or yourself, which you can go back and check the list later on. Obviously it should hopefully make sense what you're doing. Enter the part type. There's a few default ones in, you can add more in. The quantity you need for that job, where you're buying it from. Again, all these can be modified in the inventory area. This is going to be all fully linked to the inventory shortly as well. It's not at the moment, but it will be, so that there won't be two separate systems, it'll be the same system. The web URL to the actual part, so you can just go straight to it and buy it. It makes life so much easier for the person buying all the parts. A quick find code if it's got one, or I generally put a few notes in there as well sometimes, as well as the notes, which is common for all the parts in this list. So let's just raise say I need Windows 7 purchased. Oh, one thing to make sure is when you're editing parts, you need to make sure once you've finished you click the update button and it clears that area. Every time you click on there, it will always put that last part, so there may be a button here that says clear soon, but at the moment it's easier just to select it, update. So now I'm going to purchase Windows 7, or I'm going to request Windows 7 to be purchased for this repair. So I know it's a Mac, ignore the fact it's a Mac. Tell you what, let's be correct. Mac OS, I'll call it Mountain Lion. It's approximately £25 or $30 roughly. So that goes in there, so we've added the part, one of them. You may want to order for more for stock if required. We're going to buy it from Amazon, say, and we won't bother with a link because we know what we're buying. Purchase price £25. I'm going to set that to be ordered. There's a quick link there as well, which most of your technicians will probably want to use. And then once I've done that, I can put lead date if I think it's going to take maybe a few days, but I'll show you what this is more for later. Okay, so now you've specified these values. Quick note: order using priority shipping. You might want to leave a note and then click add. So now you can see now that we've got another part for this ticket, Mountain Lion. Once we've got the hard drive, which has obviously been received and it's been allocated to this repair, you're now waiting for Mountain Lion to come in. Basically this is your shopping list for this repair. Next, and that's basically it. Later on, when you want to allocate a device, or if you purchase it yourself, then here you would put in the purchase date. So say you purchased it today, and the lead date, hopefully if you buy from Amazon you get it next day, or from Apple or something like that. So you can put it, by default it gives you 7 days, but you can say it should be here by Thursday. It makes life a bit easier if you've got somebody who checks for parts. If it's not come in, you can chase it up. And other information. So when a hard drive comes in, oh, I don't want to send that for now, I'll just hit save. If a hard drive comes in and you want to lock the serial number for it and the invoice number and the purchase order, so you can trace it all back if you wanted to. Here you might want to put what type of hard drive it is: Western Digital, and the model WD, I don't know, 320 ABC. I'm just making it up. Now click update. So that's going to see now that's for that. Clicking on that one will bring back the details of what we had from before. Okay, so this is basically the parts tab, and it's quite an important tab, quite a very useful tab actually, and one of the ones you'll probably find you'll be using quite a lot. The next tab is the comms. This is the internal comms for logging internal notes, and also it gives you the ability to log to send emails and text messages to your customer as well. Here you can see we've got some notes already put in the system. It's dated and the username is specified as well, so if you've got more than one person doing the repair, then you can see who's left the note at any time. You can also see these notes in the history tab, this one here. You can see where we've made changes, so you can see who's been changing the parts and who's been ordering parts. So going back to the comms tab, so if you want to type in an email saying, you may want to not use something a little bit bigger than that, so click on open editor. It gives you a lot more area, larger area to use. Got a few defaults here, so you can add these. We've completed the repair your diagnostics. Oh, okay, that's a feature I'm just adding in right now. Actually, it's not actually in this version I'm using the testers with, but you'll have a quick what you call it, canned messages, so you can quickly specify what you want in there, and it will automatically come up here. The idea is that we want to spend the least amount of time typing out notes, and especially when you're repetitive notes as well. You know, hard drive failure is a hard drive failure, virus removal is virus removal. So the least amount of information you put in here, the better, because you just want to get on with the repair. Time is money. Okay, so once the notes are in here, you just need to click Add to Internal Note, and it adds it into this area. This is logged now into the database. If you start typing a note, this is a note, and you forget to move it down, when you hit the Save button, it will say, do you want to log it? So I will say yes. You can see it should. Once it's finished saving, put it in. You see that's the note now, just to make sure that you get everything. You've got some quick buttons here, so that button there lets you send whatever's in there as an email, or that button there will let you send whatever's in there as a text message. It will confirm after you've clicked these buttons as well, so you can't accidentally click them. Ticket notes, this is what gets printed out on the customer's receipt. So when you complete the repair and you give them the invoice, and there'll be somewhere called resolution on the invoice. I'll just show you what the printout would look like. I'll say no to that. Here, resolution. So basically the reported issue is what it comes in for. That's what you've done to repair it. You can keep it brief, because there's another service form which I'm going to get to in a second, which will be the detailed information about the repair. But here you want to just put some notes in, so anything you think the customer wants to see on the receipt. That's about it. You can obviously specify some defaults as well, so you could just double click that, and say you don't want to type things in. Backtype your data, and then you can just put reinstalled, a hard drive replaced as well. Next. It's so much quicker just doing that, so you can then format it how you want it. Just saves having to type in a lot of text. Okay, so the next tab, as you're going along, always make sure you save as well, because the last thing you want to do is walk away, get distracted, come back and close it without saving, and you lose all the changes you made. Anyway, so next tab is the invoice charges. I've got nothing in my inventory at the moment, which I'm going to add next. That's one of the next videos, but you can still type things in manually as well. So probably there's no default information in this at all. You can select this way when you've got all your products and services in your inventory. As you start typing here, it will also pop up a list. You can see I've already added a few parts into this already, so let's just say we're going to do priority repair as well. So you might have a code for it. You need to enter a code of some sort. Normally I put the word part or something like if there's a part, if I'm just manually typing it in. So priority repair, and we charge $19.99 for that. Add to invoice. So it adds it all into the invoice, totals it all up, and you can see here what's to pay. Just need to update what's been paid and what's left to pay, because I've already processed the sale for these two. This is additional, which is left to pay here. So you can see got $19.99 left to pay, but they've already paid $129.98. Here gives you the total, the tax rate, and the total including tax. Payment methods. This is largely redundant now, this area, but you can change this because this gets specified now from the point of sale. I'll come to that in a few minutes. The next thing would be the repeat billing. Say you have a service, for example, website hosting. Oh, don't want to type that, do you? Website hosting, web, and say that's like $99.99 a year. You might want to add that, and then just to remind yourself that you've got that to be paid again next year, tick the repeat button, and today's date, the last bill date, next due date is automatically calculated the next year. You can do yearly, monthly, weekly, quarterly, and never end. Billing period can be, you can keep it ongoing. You can bill until a certain date, maybe till next year, so that's once, or bill for a set number of times. So we're going to say never end. When you click save, that will add this ticket into a area which you can access through the menu on the main screen, called repeat billing, and that will show you all the up and coming repeat billings due in the next 30 days. We can see them all, but it defaults the next 30 days. Okay, you can see now I've added website to 99. It's also updated this to pay, so now I need to pay $119.98 instead of $19.99. I'll go through the rest of the tabs in a second, but one good feature about CRS is it's fully integrated with point of sale. So if you wanted to control everything that goes in and out, money wise, you can do it through the main screen in two places, but also you can also click on here. And what will happen is once you click on that, it will close this screen, open up all of this information in the point of sale terminal, and it will ask you to take payment from the customer. Quite a good little feature. I won't do it now because this is going to close the ticket and I'll have to reopen it again to continue the rest of the tabs. So I'm going to move on now to the hardware test tab. This is a good area where you can specify what tests you've done to the customer's hardware, what's passed and what's failed. If you click there, that will automatically pass everything unless you choose one. You can specify what's failed. Say you've added, or you can power supply's failed as well, so we can delete that. Just select and press delete on the keyboard. Go down to power supply, and then it failed. I'll put no voltage, output, click add test. So that's gone down as a failure, and this is going to be printed out for the customer later as well. You can email this information to the customer, and I'll show you that in the next tab. So again, click save, because I like to click save once I've finished editing the tab. You'll probably see where we've got tabs saved. See the little stars? Customer has a star, there's a star, star, and there. That means we've edited the tab, so that when you open up a ticket and it opens up on this page, you can quickly see what's been edited and what tabs have not been edited. I think anything you've added to it since it was created a ticket. I'm going to move into software tests now. This is quite a useful area where you can specify all the software and all of the tests and everything you've done to the computer. I like to give customers a service report after they've got their repair back, because they get a nice printout which is personalised to their computer, everything you've done to it. So where we've reinstalled the operating system, we can say this. So double click that and it will add it into here. So you can see it's an action we've performed under actions performed. It's a reinstall and data backup. What else have we done? We've done all the Windows updates for them. I know all the Windows updates. We've done a hard disk test. We wouldn't have done a defrag because it's a clean hard drive, but we wouldn't have done a disk check. We probably would have originally. Probably would have installed a free antivirus program, so software installations and upgrades. So you can double click that. We always put OpenOffice on the standard for a lot of our customers. Sorry, I'm selecting it and then double clicking, but obviously you'll just go in and double click. So if I double click that now, it automatically adds it in and highlights it. And obviously recommendations, so they might have not enough memory. This is a good opportunity to make some upsells as well. So, or it might be XP less than 1 gig, so I'm going to double click that. Memory's low because it kind of goes hand in hand. Hard drive shouldn't be free. New hard drive should be fine. Anything else you can add, you can make modifications to any of these in these settings as well, so you can add and remove the ones you don't want. Another area is upsells as well, so you've got annual service, so you might want to remind them to bring that back, and you've got cloud backup service, so let me just add them both in. The default ticket, the HTML templates will have these in automatically, but you might want to add your own upsells in. For example, you might want to remind customers about website hosting and stuff like that, or you might want to remind them about other services you offer like printing and scanning, that type of thing. And the last box I've not spoke about is the virus, malware, spyware scans. You might want to just specify what you've scanned if you've done any virus scans on their data. So say we specified malware bytes, so I'll double click that. It's asked how many viruses. We found quite a lot on their data, say well, not really a lot, 34. It puts it in there with 34. We've run a spyware scan as well. We found 67, maybe crap cleaner. We've removed 60, say 45 instances. Your customers won't see what programs you use. This is just for you, so you know what you did. In the service report, which I'm going to show you right now, click save. You're going to see it just says malware scan. It will say spyware scan, and etc. So again, you can change all these values from the settings area. Let's close that. So I'm going to print out the service to get a print preview. And here you will see it's full screen. I don't want it too big, overbearing. Here we go. So you can see now hardware tests, what we've performed, all the notes. Your customer will see all the notes in there. Just, obviously a little bit of a bug which is fixed in the new version. So you just see notes for the hard drive, which should be there, not all the way down. What it's done is specified notes for all. This is basically notes for everything. It's a little bit better laid out in the new version. Your virus, malware, and spyware scans, which is from, if you remember, that tab there. So we put spyware scan. So okay, we have specified malware bytes, but you can change that. Remove 34 issues, spyware scan. We've put what it is in there. Remove 67 issues, and obviously here we use CCleaner. Again, you can change all these values to what you want them to be. Repair actions. You can see operating system reinstall backup. Gives you some nice information for your customer to read. A lot of customers like to read personalised information about their computer. We've explained why we've done updates, what we've done with the data backup. You know, we've tested the hard drive and it's tested errors and defects, and so we've obviously replaced it as part of this repair. The other tab, we've got software installed updates, so we just explained that we've installed or updated Microsoft Security Essentials. It's our recommended free product. You know, it just, here you can do a little bit of upselling. We specify Kaspersky. We like to sell Kaspersky. It's a little bit better, we think, and it obviously makes us money. OpenOffice talks about, you know, why we put it on and how it's very similar to Microsoft Word. You can see we've got word processor, spreadsheets. Same with Adobe Flash. It gives as much information as possible, basically. And then quite an important thing, the last two, is our recommendations and advice. We've explained that Windows or Win 7 has 2 gig or less of RAM. Obviously, we always recommend a minimum of 4 gig if you run in Windows 7 for optimum performance, or at least 2 gig anyway. So here's a good opportunity for you to make some extra money with the repair. You can explain what happens when upgrades have been done, and just by telling them insufficient memory, it will make things slow down and stuff. And obviously other services you may be interested. This is the upsells tab. This tab up here, you can see we've put in yearly computer service, just like your car, benefits from an annual service, etc. And then backup, you know, just a reminder that we can do a backup service. You can see underneath these here are already part of the HTML template, so you can take these out or edit it how you want. That's going to be in every single ticket, no matter if you click the upsells or not. So you can modify all the text and all the items you put into this report just through the settings. These details you can see at the top are not quite filled in yet. These are asset information about your customer's computer, and that's the next tab we're moving on to now. So once you've filled it in, your customer will see this information. Okay, so next tab, asset details, by specifying how much memory they've got, the processor they're using, hard drive, operating system, so we're going to say it's Windows 7 or Windows 8, graphics card, laptop built in, etc. All this information. You can put these product keys in as well if you want. And then I'm going to open up the service report again, click save because it saves it to the database first. It will prompt you if you try to click service button and not save it. So you can see now all that information is presented to the customer, other than the product keys. I've not put that in. And it just gives them lots of information about their computer, which they will probably keep for quite a few years and refer back to. So it's useful as a tool to get referrals and people coming back to you. There's nothing quite like having a customer talk to his friend, say, "Oh, gave me a good report about my computer and I know what's going on," and they got information. So anyway, the asset tab, you may want to offer a warranty of your repairs, 180 or 90-day warranty or 30-day warranty. We normally use this ourselves if we were to sell a new or refurbished computer, so we can specify when the warranty started. We normally offer a 6-month warranty on our repairs, and we also offer a 6-month warranty on our purchases. This tab, you can also specify the purchase date of the computer, so you may want to specify when it was purchased, if it's a brand new one or a customer purchase. You can use that how you wish. The date you delivered it to your customer, and obviously or the date you installed it. Bear in mind we've got a 90-day warranty or 180-day warranty, so you can see all the information. You might want to put the model if you haven't already specified it in the job tab. The selling price you sold it to the customer, just a bit of information. I know you've got the invoice, so that will specify everything you need anyway, but it's just bits of information you might need, maybe their purchase order as well, and any notes you may have. So okay, that sums up this tab. You can actually change this asset over from one account to another account. So we've only got one user account in at the moment, but say you've got 2 customers and you purchase an old computer off an old customer, and you've refurbished it, and you want to keep the same asset details in the system, but you want to trace the history of it, then you can just switch that account over, the owner of this computer, from one account to another account, so that you may want to trace back who the computer originally belonged to if it ever comes back in the future. So you purchased it, refurbished it, and resold it again. So it's quite a useful area, this is. Lastly is or not lastly, there's a few more tabs. We've got the history tab. In this tab you can see all of the changes that have been made throughout the usage of CRS, and which will be more detailed as CRS is enhanced. The next tab is the ticket attachment. Here you may want to attach invoices or receipts or any information. You know, normally with our customers, when I go out on call, I like to put on there, you know, if I write up any documents for them, like for example giving them their internet details and stuff, ADSL settings and stuff, it's a Word document. I normally attach that to the ticket so I can come back to it another time and just quickly open it up. And the last tab is the other tab. At the moment it's only got one button called Live Drive. I don't know if you use Live Drive, but Live Drive is an online cloud storage solution. Obviously the website address is livedrive.com, and you can access your reseller account through here. You can set it up through the option admin settings and through the API area, and it gives you the ability to quickly create an account for customers literally within the ticket, and it's quite a powerful, quite a useful feature. That basically sums up the tabs inside a ticket.